Thank you all for joining. My name is Paul. I'm on the developer experience team here at Sentry. My team's job is to make sure that things are certainly useful, easy to use. A product that is not easy to use is inherently not very useful. So we care a lot about the developer experience and what value our users are getting out of our products. And I'll kick it over to Andrea if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, hello everyone. I'm Andrea Griffiths. I am a senior developer advocate at GitHub. I sort of get to spend a lot of time thinking about where everything that we put out, be it a product or workflow, actually helps you do your job better, easier, with more joy.
The bread and butter of Sentry is like I said, capturing errors and exceptions. There are a number of different products that you can add on top of that sort of base layer. That things like structured logs, traces, a number of things. You can connect your source control, so it'll be able to reference your code as well. So all that together creates this rich context of this ability, this reasoning engine to understand what's going on in your application and offer you a root cause of what the actual issue is, and pass that off to an external source to execute a fix. In this case, that's going to be a Copilot agent. The issue at hand is, are you pointing these tools at the right thing? Do they have context to adequately fix the issue at hand? Because we feel pretty strongly that Sentry, and particularly Seer, our agent debugger that'll do that work, is an important input in this self-healing flow. Okay, so really quickly, when you set up your Sentry account, you are greeted with a feed of errors and things that Sentry has collected. This is one step deeper in. This is basically like a detailed view of an issue. And so you'll see all the metadata and all the things you might expect, things like the operating system, the browser, which environment you are on, that sort of thing. You can get a sense in the top right corner here about how many times this issue was collected, how many users it hit, that sort of thing. And as you scroll down, you get a little bit more interesting as you go. So if you upload source maps to Sentry, you'll be able to see the line of code where the error was triggered, which is obviously very helpful in terms of getting to the bottom of things. There's this concept of session replay if you're a front-end heavy application, where you can see essentially what the user encountered when the error was triggered. And you'll be able to replay through it here and get a sense of what was going on. We have a logger in Sentry, structured logs, so you can get deeper information with attributes and different things to correlate around the actual error itself. We recently added application metrics, so you can get a look at certain aspects of what things are happening inside the app. And of course, our trace view, which is going to essentially give you a sense of the event lifecycle and where things might be bottlenecking, and that's going to give you a sense of where you need to address things. And these are incredibly useful tools for AI agents. And in our world, on the right-hand panel here, you'll see Seer, which is our agent debugger. And what it does is it grabs all that context, puts that all together, and can form a root cause so that the next step is much more clear. So if I open this panel, we can see it went through everything that I've put into Sentry. So the more context and things you put in here, the easier time it has to reason about it. And it tells me exactly what happened, and it even gave me some steps to reproduce it. Now that I have this root cause, Seer can make a plan and try to get through the next steps to the fix. But as I mentioned, we also, at this point, you can hand this root cause analysis off to a coding agent, and that'll spin up a cloud agent, and it will take all this and give that context to the agent so it can execute on the fix.
I have to say, like, for us as a company, we do use Sentry as well. Of course, that's how we get our logs. So every time there's something that's not working properly, that's usually like one of the first points of sort of notice that we get before like incidents are declared and all that. So it's super important part of the way that we work. In our case, what we're going to be looking at today is GitHub Actions automations failing. Moving on to the right, you can see how Sentry actually catches that error, and then it groups it into an issue. One of the things that I appreciate the most about the way that this is done internally, like at Sentry, and the information that's provided, is how the stack trace and the incident context is all kind of bundled up into one. I have this update action workflow run where you can see where it basically did not run. So like for this particular run, like it failed. It was trying to translate an assignee GitHub login or username using a friendly host name. So because it wasn't mapped to the way that the script was written, then the scheduling just basically stopped updating, right? So that was a very small script. It's something that, again, it can be just super, all right, well, that's not a big deal. But when you have like 50, 60 open issues, I rely on that script a lot to do this automation for me. So I plugged it into Sentry for that very reason. And we can take a look and see where that red workflow, where it basically just didn't do that parsing correctly, and take a look at it, what it looked like in Sentry. This is already, the analysis has been run, right? So I already know what the root cause is. It brings me that specific stack error, which this is one of my favorite parts because it's actually going to give me all of the context. It gives me the specific line on the script where it fell. And if you have like, this is a very simple script, but even a very simple Python script can be a few dozen lines of code. And back to that attention point, like for you to go back and try and pinpoint the exact moment in the code where something is incorrect, it's tough. But here is literally just here it is. This is where the error is. And now with the stack trace provided by Sentry, I have everything I need to know. I already know the context of that failure. So then I asked Seer to, take a look at it, figure out what it is. It's telling me, okay, yeah, this is what's wrong. It's going even more details as explaining to me exactly why it happened. And this is where the handout happened that you can't see in this because it's a complete one. But I was able to hand it off then to GitHub Copilot, who in turn spun up a pull request as a fix and basically was able to make the very specific change until literally was just one single change on a one line of code. But that was it. That fixed my problem right there. So it gets better in that I didn't have to go chasing anywhere else or keep running this workflow. What I would have done before is very stubbornly keep triggering that action and trying to get context from debug logs from within the action to try and figure out what it was that was happening. Could I have copied that and dumped it into the Copilot chat? Sure. But then it would have taken a lot more credits in order for to do that, right? Because here, like, it just basically had that. So that resulted on this pull request, which showed me the fix. And that's it. That's like that whole complete historical chain that we saw on this little diagram, from the actions failure to the Sentry opening the issue, gathering all the context, doing that diagnosis, and then giving me the pull request. And so the fact that it opens the pull request in draft mode allows me to go back in and review it. And then I can continue to steer the conversation, which is something that I really appreciate about the Copilot coding agent, that I can do it from the chat. I can do it from the CLI. If I see the diagnosis and I see the fix and I decide, well, actually, I think there is a better way to handle this, I can input that context and then steer the pull request to update it. But at this point, I don't have to explain myself again because Sentry is done the explaining for me and Seer is done the diagnosing for me, and I'm ready just to remediate, right? So that failure, that diagnosis, and that reviewable change are all connected. I have control over that context, and I can take that then. And if it's a larger problem that I need to discuss with my team, we're not chasing trace logs. We're able to see everything there. Now we have an open weight model that's available. We have the power of bringing your own keys. So if you're cost conscious, you can set all of that up. So when you're doing this handover, you're actually not spending more than you should. And then It's going to go ahead and open that pull request in draft mode for us, keeping that final output in that pull request where my existing code review process exists. And that is so key, so that we're actually like working under our systems and working with the system, working with the tool, but within our systems. So I'm pleased to say like the process of like signing up and adding the integration, it all felt like very safe. Like I was doing everything that I needed, like to have the guardrails in place to make sure that it was only having access to what I wanted it to have access to. So
one question that comes up for me often is, when I talk to Sentry customers is, are there any other modalities in which that root cause analysis can be used? Like right now we're looking at in the Sentry UI, we're seeing the root cause analysis in the panel. We're triggering it manually in some cases, although you can, as you mentioned, configure that to run. There's some automation steps for that. But if you use the Sentry MCP server, in whatever coding agent you're in, you can also just pull that information directly where you are. And if there's anything that you need to fix, you can request the root cause if it wasn't already generated, and you can just apply the fix from there, effectively skipping the Sentry UI. We had a question come in from Pavlo, who was asking, is it possible to trigger a Seer fix from a Slack error notification or something like that? And the answer is absolutely yes. And that is, again, another way to keep this tight. So obviously, getting notifications from Sentry is probably not something that people talk about a lot. Sentry has all this information for you, but it's, being made aware of it is an important part of it. So we've put a lot of effort into our notification systems and the third parties that you can connect in.
Take that recurrent task as like a bottleneck for your team and see where all the power of this information can like help for diagnostics, for everything. I mean, nobody likes to be called at 3 p.m. on a Friday because there's an incident and something's broken. So
for sure.
Let me know how you get on, please. I'd love to hear what people built after they watched this.
Perfect. Andrea, it's been a real pleasure. Hopefully this was useful in illustrating what some of the possibilities are, as we move into more like a self-healing world. Combining these two tools and platforms feels like a no-brainer. And that's, we're comfortably taking that stance of, Sentry doesn't need to reinvent the wheel of all aspects of agentic everything, but with all the context that we're providing, it's kind of up to you to use that however you choose. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear if anyone has any fun use cases and how this is coming together. But we're just over by a few minutes, so I think we're gonna call it there. And again, thanks to everybody for joining.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks to the team backstage, and thanks to everyone who joined and asked thoughtful questions. And again, feel free to add me, and I will come back if I missed any of the questions. But I love it. We're so aligned on developer choice, Paul. Like,
for sure,
we're simpatico, like they said.
Indeed.